Good morning, and welcome to another inspiring episode of the Good Morning Minute podcast, where we start the day with purpose, passion, and a little bit of power. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and today's conversation is part of our special series in partnership with the Empower Her Steps virtual conference, a movement rooted in helping women heal, rise, and walk boldly into the life God has designed for them. Our mission is simple but powerful, empowering life purpose. Because we believe when a woman finds clarity in her calling, everything changes for her family, her community, and the generations to come. So friends, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and get ready as we get uplifted and dive into real stories, honest lessons, and bold steps towards purpose with our incredible guest today. And our guest today is Paul. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Angelina.
Yes. So, Paul, why don't you just take a moment and introduce yourself to our listeners?
Absolutely. So I'm Paul Culshaw. I am a certified business strategist and AI mentor. So I help coaches, entrepreneurs who are a little bit confused with the world of online. I help them go from that confusion to clarity, so it feels a lot more doable, a lot more calmer, so we can make some progress in your business and on online.
Wonderful. Well, I can't wait to get to know you a little bit better through our conversation today. But before I do so, I do have a little icebreaker and kind of a fun little lighthearted question to ask you. Your question this morning is, are you more of a sunrise or sunset person?
That's a great question. So I am more of a sunset person. I would say that's my instinct to say that. So I found, especially when I started my own business, I found that I was still working kind of 9 to 5, like a corporate kind of timeline to my day. But I found my own energy actually kind of picked up later on in the day. So I work kind of more later on. I'm more productive later on. So yeah, I think that's why I'm more of a sunset person. I think my energy comes probably after 4 p.m. and onwards.
I definitely can relate to that. If the day calls for me to be a sunrise person, though, I will jump into it. But I relate more with the sunset because I am more of that night person. When things start to calm down, I'm able to really focus in on what I wanted to work on.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I do have an intention though to be a sunrise person because I have seen so many beautiful and spectacular sunrises that people share when they kind of get up and go to the beach at 4 a.m. So I'd love to do that at some time, but it might only be a one-off.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right, Paul. Well, let's jump into the heart of our conversation. I'm going to ask you just what was the defining moment in your life of challenge or pain, and how did it impact you?
Absolutely, sure. So it's a great question, and it's great to be able to reflect upon this with you today. So if I'm reflecting back about 8 years ago now, really, and it was quite a brutal 24 hours. So on a Sunday at the weekend, unfortunately, I had a relationship breakdown and split from my girlfriend at the time, and she was also the mum of my daughter. So it's really hard on that Sunday. Sundays are usually quite a quieter day as well. So it was quite a difficult day, as you can imagine, to get through. But then on the following Monday morning, I was also made redundant from my job, and I was head of digital marketing at the time for an agency. So I certainly didn't see it coming, and I didn't ask for either kind of separation. But basically, I lost pretty much everything in the space of 24 hours. So both my family life and my career. And I think at the time it felt like the ground had
Mhm.
disappeared beneath me
Yeah.
because I really didn't see it coming. I think probably everything that I thought was secure and stable had gone. So it's difficult to deal with. So that kind of loss, I find, isn't just about circumstance; it's about identity as well, because you have a lot of purpose in your relationships, in your role, in your family, in work as well. So I used to work in the corporate environment, and it gives you a lot of identity. So you start to lose a lot of purpose at that time in terms of who I am. Who am I now? Where do I go from here? So it's
Mhm.
one of those moments that really forces you to strip everything back and rebuild from scratch. But I'm sure we'll explore through your questions as well how I actually did start to rebuild from scratch.
Yeah, absolutely. I just kind of want to reflect a little bit on what you've said so far, and I appreciate the
Mm.
vulnerability and just, saying this happened to me. But man, and within a 24-hour time span, I can just imagine what that would have felt like, or even, the despair that just, one thing right after another thing, and just kind of asking yourself like, okay, what else? Like, what else is gonna happen? Or, just wow, that's amazing. And the you mentioned the identity that we wrap ourselves up in when it comes to like
Mm.
relationships and careers and things like that. And that's so true. And so when those things, we put so much time and energy in those things that they become us, which I kind of want to peel back a little bit because this is a great opportunity when we look at things that don't go our way, or we're in a moment of challenge, and that thing that we thought was us really isn't, because it can definitely be taken from you at any moment. Then you're left with that question, who am I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's quite a profound
Mhm.
question to have.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I found on reflection when you are working 9 to 5 in a job, and it's great to do that. You do become comfortable, and you have a certain routine
Mhm.
in life as well. And most people tend to have that routine as well. And so when you don't have that, it's very different. You know, in my life, I kind of grew up going to university and then getting a job, so I was going through that pretty defined upbringing, as it were.
Mhm.
So I didn't really know any other way forward when you start to lose family life, when you start to lose that career. So yeah, it was certainly a big moment. But I'm glad I'm here to talk to you today and be able to help other people as well who may well be going through similar things.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let's jump into the next question, where in the midst of the storm, so to speak, where did you start sensing like, you know what, there's some purpose behind this situation?
Yeah, so it was a few years later. It wasn't until about 2020,
Hmm.
I think, when well, lots of things happened that year, didn't they? But for me, I started to definitely get a first glimpse of deciding to start my own business because I think through things like redundancy. I mean, after I was made redundant there, I did get another job after that, but I was never the same. I kind of had a glimpse of perhaps starting my own business, and that kind of stayed with me for a few years until I took the leap, as it were, in 2020. So I realized redundancy wasn't a rejection. I certainly took it
Hmm.
like a rejection at the time. So it's not a rejection, it's more of a redirection. So anyone who's been made redundant, I would advise them to see it as an opportunity. It's not about you, it's just a business decision. See it as an opportunity to do something else. So for me, it gave me the chance to step off that conveyor belt of working for other people and actually create something of my own, which I'm so excited about. And that's what I'm doing now and for the next few years as well. So it's great to actually develop something yourself and grow that. So I think there is an irony to this as well because the agency, so the marketing agency that I worked for, it was run by a very entrepreneurial guy. So I think watching him probably planted a seed in me. But I think at the time, 2017, I didn't really have the courage or perhaps the push to actually follow it through. But through a few years later, I'm reflecting. I think I got to a moment where I saw, yeah, actually, I work for somebody who's quite entrepreneurial. I've got enough experience now of marketing, of agencies, and helping clients that, yeah, maybe I should actually do this myself now. So, yeah, on reflection, I think maybe I was placed in that role to kind of gather those thoughts, which have helped me later on in life.
Yeah, I like that you're looking at it from a reflective point of view and saying, you know what, in that opportunity that I was sitting in, I was able to learn and grow, my entrepreneur skills and things like that. by watching another person, even though that communication wasn't like, hey, I want to learn or whatever, you were
Mhm.
learning, you were absorbing those skill sets in order to step into this next phase of your life, even though life directed it, not by choice, but definitely. So I think that that's a key there for those that are listening to really understand that sometimes you might be in a moment that isn't a storm, but there's definitely some development opportunities there. So really be aware and open-eyed in those moments because you never know, because life is so unexpected. You never know when those things are going to happen, and to be able to pull from those things as well. So okay, Paul, here you are stepping into this new idea of business. You're utilizing some of the skills that you've pulled from previous experiences. What else helped you kind of grow in your business and kind of help build that foundation?
Definitely. So I think on reflection, it was certainly a mix of time and conscious effort to do it. So we're all different. For me, I'm quite sensitive and kind of naturally empathetic. So I take time to actually heal. I
Mhm.
think. I mean, I still reflect upon this time. Although all of what we're talking about today happened 8 years ago, I still reflect upon it as well. Um, so I think time certainly helped, and as I say, that conscious effort. So I think that resilience isn't something you're born with. It's probably created brick by brick when life knocks you down. So we all go through so-called negative experiences, as it were, and we all always have to have that self-belief and resilience to get through those things as well. So for me, I gave myself some space to reflect, as I say, but I also made a choice to believe that I could move forward. And I think that belief came through the experience which I gained in marketing. So, I mean, I fell into digital marketing back in the late 90s when it first started. And we're talking about 2017 now,
Mhm.
at this time of the situation that happened to me. So I gained a lot of experience. So I think that really helped me actually reflecting on that experience, going into the agency where I worked in as well, and going into that agency as a head of digital marketing. That's the first time I'd had that title, and actually helping a team as
Mhm.
well. I think all of those things helped me with my self belief and resilience. That yeah, I could actually do this myself if I've managed a team and managed some clients there. Why not do it myself? So I think I learned to reframe the whole story then. That redundancy wasn't about being useless. Because I was pretty good at my job. It was a business decision, as I say.
Mhm.
And the relationship splits wasn't a failure on my part, or maybe either part. It was really about two paths diverging naturally. So I think that shift in perspective was certainly a big part of reframing the whole situation and a big part of healing as well, being able to accept what has
Mhm.
happened so I can move on.
And you're hitting on some really good key points here is in the healing process because one,
Yeah.
you talk about this happened 8 years ago, but you still reflect on it. So just out for those that are listening, healing isn't a linear process. It is something that loops and turns and dips and winds and all those things. Um, so to go back and reflect, that is part of the healing process, and it's an ongoing thing. I think this will be like a life journey in healing because you're going to always find moments where you go back and you reflect because it could be something that you're facing today that's pulling from a memory in the past, and that's okay to do that. Just don't get caught up in it. And so I like them also the message you're saying here, Paul, is reframing the things that maybe in the time that you were experiencing it was like, oh, this is all happening to me. But 8 years down the road, you're now looking at it and going, no, this happened for me because I was able to grow. I was able to understand that the relationship parted based on just two different paths that were happening at that moment, and you're for the better man for it now here 8 years later. You've grown your business, so let's talk about who you are today. Like how did this story shape who you are today? I know you're a businessman, I know you're an entrepreneur. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I think it gave me two things, or two main things, and that was resilience and empathy.
Mm,
As I say in my last response, I think I am naturally empathetic to people, but I think it's strengthened empathy as well because I've got more personal insight and lived experience of what can happen to people. Yeah, you've got more understanding and empathy for people. So yeah, it's more resilience and more empathy. So resilience because I know I can survive losing what I thought mattered most, and still build something better. So actually being in quite a low state, and then being where I am
mm,
now, yeah,
mhm,
it shows a lot of resilience that. And just because I've done it, lots of other people can do it as well. I know people have been in far worse situations than me. And it's all about being resilient and having that self-belief, but also having a bit of a champion or mentor in
mm,
your corner as well will always help with that. So I also spoke about empathy there, didn't I? So I
mhm,
think this story of mine has helped me grow more empathy because I understand what it feels like to be in that in between place.
mm,
That's what I like to call it, that in between place where you're lost, you're stuck, or you're a little bit uncertain of where to go. And I think a lot of people are in that space as well. So whether it's in their personal life or it's in business, I think a lot of people are in that kind of lost space sometimes and quite confused and not quite sure how to move forward. And I think that makes me probably more human in the way that I support people. So there's lots of strategists and clever digital marketing people and AI people
mm,
out there, definitely. And I do offer that as a service. But I think what makes me different is that I have a lot of patience, empathy, understanding. I have a narrative that runs through my business, which is really triumph over struggle. So it's nothing about technical, it's nothing about social media content. It's essentially about helping people through their struggles or where they're at now, and how can I help them move forward.
mm. I love that. And I love that you're talking about empathy, the growth of empathy, even though that was already a natural talent of yourselves, but just to really understand it more and how you relate to people. And I think that because you're a coach, so that's important because people want to feel connected to another person who's guiding them through something. Like you've either gone through something similar, you can understand, you can relate, and I think that's why that empathy is so important. Because it also you talked about just being connected to your humanity, just being more human. Because it's what it does when you're able to really go through your story and understand how it impacted you, understand your own healing journey from it, you're able to open up an understanding for someone else going through that. There's more compassion there. There's more understanding and just the gift of empathy, the gift of empathy, as you've said so beautifully. And then you talked about this in between, people that are struggling through the in between. So, what kind of advice, because you've been there, you understand that in between state,
Yep.
what kind of advice would you give someone that maybe is currently in that in between?
If you're in the in between space, certainly hold on to your self belief,
Mm,
even when it feels pretty thin and non-existent. Always hold on to the self belief because you never know what tomorrow is going to bring in terms of opportunities or the people that you meet. So, for me, in terms of this story, redundancy or relationship breakdowns are rarely a reflection of your own worth. As I say, their circumstances, their decisions, or just timing. So it's not about you being broken, it's about life shifting direction, I think. And these are the things that come to me when I'm reflecting 8 years later. It's all about a natural life shift, really. So if you're in that in between space, you want to use that space really to step back, breathe, have a moment, and pause, and look at what's possible for you going forward. So for me, it wasn't comfortable doing that. It wasn't natural to do that. This is why working with a mentor is always good, or working with somebody like yourself, or listening to this podcast always helps. Um, so it's definitely not comfortable to do this sometimes if it's not meant to be, but it can come to be a turning point for you
mhm,
when you start to reflect on the way forward. So I would. Um, in terms of my kind of final advice on this, I'd say don't underestimate the power of a small step in a new direction.
Mm,
So I think a lot of people that I've come across, anyway, in the entrepreneurial world, have a good positive intention to build the business, um, but sometimes they're a little bit afraid to take that step or just a small step forward.
mm,
Um, to move in that new direction. So I always say that you don't need to have the full plan figured out because it can seem quite a lot. We're talking about building a business from scratch, or kind of having great visibility online. These can be scary
mhm,
things for people. So we don't have to do it all at once. Just take a small step and then keep moving, really,
mhm.
in the right direction.
And that's really good advice because every small step equals two big gains. So,
Mm.
take the step, start small. It doesn't have to happen overnight, and that's the intention between small steps is that you're gradually moving towards that, and you're working through that fear barrier. Again, fear is just a guiding post to let you know that you're stepping into something that's unfamiliar, uh, and it doesn't need to be a roadblock. So, just some perspective there. So, Paul, what does living with purpose look like for you now?
So now, yeah, purpose means supporting the people that I really want to help, basically. So if you think about me working in agencies and marketing agencies, the clients that I worked with were basically the clients that the sales team were able to close. And sometimes you don't want to work on some of those businesses because you don't naturally believe in them.
Mm,
It's not the type of area you want to work on. So being able to help the people that I want to help, so coaches, consultants, all you talented people out there who have your own business, those are the people I want to help rather than the big corporates and PLC companies that I used to work with. That's my main point there in terms of that really gives me purpose and genuine purpose because, as I say, it's the people that I want to help, not my employer, as it were. So for me, yeah, absolutely. With that, I get to create my own services. I can shape my personal brand as well. I've brought in that narrative, as I say, of triumph over struggle as well. So this all helps to
mhm,
form a personal brand, which gives me a lot of purpose to build that brand.
mhm,
So whether it's helping people go from confusion to clarity in marketing and AI, or it's aligning their business strategy so that they can serve their own clients better, it all comes back to using my story to fuel their stories, to fuel their human stories. So I want to show people that the things that almost broke you can be the very things that define your impact. And I
mhm.
think that's what gives me a lot of purpose. And I think that's what purpose feels like for me now. Actually taking my own struggles and turning them into something that makes someone else's path a lot easier going forwards for them.
And I love that because it's so true. When we can own our story and then take responsibility to make the changes that we want to see in our lives, we could become a beacon of light for someone else that's struggling in their own in between state. Uh, and then it gives them the permission to also shine as well. So it's just that
Yeah.
paying it forward kind of ideology behind it all. Paul, as we get ready to kind of close up our conversation, I do have a question of legacy and impact for you, one that I ask all my guests. So what I'm going to ask you today is if this were your last day, what would you want to be remembered for?
I'd like to be remembered for helping people who struggle in life actually find their own purpose, actually find their own success
Mm.
in a way that is meaningful to them. Um, let's leave it there. So just nice and simple,
Uh,
helping people, whether it's in their personal life or more in their business life, but being able to help them in a genuine and empathetic manner.
Beautifully said. If you could leave maybe one bit of truth or a word of encouragement to someone out there listening who's still trying to figure out their purpose, what would it be?
It would be to self-reflect on your own natural skills,
Mm,
I think, in terms of what do you enjoy the most. in your life. What did you like doing when you were growing up, when you were a child? And kind of try to align your life back to those things as well, because sometimes we can lose the child within us and become serious and adulting, as it were. So try to find those things which you naturally enjoy and build your life, build a business around those things, because it won't feel like work because you naturally enjoy doing them. So just try to self-reflect and find those areas.
Mm, it's beautiful advice there. Well, Paul, let's say if someone's out there listening and they're like, you know what, I really want to connect with Paul. I think he could help me and kind of coach me into some things or whatever. How can someone get in contact with you?
So you can find me on Instagram. I am at Paul. Let me do that again. On Instagram, I am at Coach Paul Culshaw. You can also find my website, paulculshaw.com, and you can get in touch via any of those means.
Wonderful. Well, do you have anything else that's coming up, Paul, that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you get in touch and you're a little bit confused with how the whole online world works for your business, you can also find on my website or via myself on Instagram some free guides. For example, 10 Secrets to Grow in a Business is a great one to start with. So have a look there. There's plenty of free guides to get you started.
Wonderful. Well, Paul, I want to say thank you for sharing your heart, your story, and your light with us today. Conversations like this remind us that purpose isn't about perfection. No, it's about showing up and growing through the things that we go through and understanding that every step matters. Here at the Good Morning Minute and through the Empower Her Steps movement, we believe every woman has a calling worth discovering and a voice worth using. So wherever you are today, friend, remember your purpose is powerful and you're not walking alone. So until next time, keep rising, keep trusting, and keep walking boldly into the life God has designed for you. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.